whatever problems that the jewelry industry faces. Where we also handle, challenges for the industry with other bodies that we need to relate to or communicate with. So if it comes to, say, dealing with government, we step in and try to deal with issues that need to be addressed, and then pass on the information to the industry. And if there are any grievances that they also have that need to be, tabled to any authority, we handle that. But basically, we deal, mostly with the welfare of people in the industry, helping them deal with their challenges, whatever supports they need, because there are various aspects that people are not aware of.
Yes.
Yeah, and also sometimes people need information. Some people wonder, how do I, if I want my ward or someone to learn how to make jewelry, where do I go? How do I start? I mean, from time immemorial, our forefathers have been making jewelry, and most of it has been apprenticeships. But lately, there are schools that train people, yes, from scratch. That's from early years. Some of the secondary schools now are offering jewelry, and this has been more from the advocacy from those of us in the sector. Yeah. So there's a starting point where they start off from, build up, some take it to university. Yeah, and there's some colleges also that are offering jewelry design courses as well.
That's quite
It's still a small number, and we're looking to grow it some more, because we've been mining gold, for centuries.
Yes.
And we've been exporting it in the raw. Now we need to add value, which has always been, our point of view, and that would earn the country a lot more, and also creating employment for a lot of young people in our environment.
Which is very important. Now, for the jewelers, what do you do?
We design and make jewelry. Yes. Right from scratch. So from the raw material,
so it means the raw material will be the gold or minerals. Mineral. Okay.
Yes. Not just gold. We also work in silver and other base metals, but mostly gold. So we take it in the raw state and prepare it and use it to design various body adornments.
I see.
From chains, earrings, pendants, bracelets, anklets, you just name it. All the body adornments. And also there are keepsakes, like souvenirs. Some people come into town, especially when we have foreigners into town. They say, well, maybe I want a letter opener or even a bottle top opener. We can design that in gold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also various landmarks, like you can be commissioned by someone to design a piece in gold for them.
Is it capital intensive?
Yes, when you're dealing with gold, yes, it is very capital intensive. And that is one of the areas that we have been addressing with, because it looks like the financial institutions don't understand
the
operation. Yeah, so we've been addressing that.
What are some of the risks? If for instance, someone intends to get into that sector, what possible risks?
Well, the risk is understanding and knowing what gold actually is, because some people get duped. Starting off, because there are various metals that look like gold, but are not gold. So if you're not careful, or you don't know exactly what you're dealing with, you can get scammed.
So how do you differentiate between something?
So there are testing methods.
Okay.
There's also equipment for testing. Some of them are quite expensive, but there are some basic testing techniques that you can take material through. There've also been instances where some of our members are certified to buy back old jewelry, which they use.
Okay.
But they've had problems where someone may have gone to unlawfully pick someone else's jewelry and sold it to a jeweler.
Yes, it's a big...
And so when that happens, it becomes a major problem. So we keep advising our people, be very certain, do your checks, issue receipts. So in case anything happens and the issue falls foul of the law, you know exactly where to go and what to do.
Sometimes when you look at people, of course, people who want to marry, people who want to be gifted some of these ornaments that we've talked about, unfortunately, some people think buying these items outside, say you're Dubai or any other country, it gives it a bit of, I don't know, what is it, status or much more like
I get exactly
value
what,
kind of,
exactly what you're
and that the locally made is not appreciated to that extent. Do you find that to be a problem, and how do you think we can change that?
Yes, it has been a problem. Generally, the average Ghanaian has a very, very high affinity for imported goods. We have been brought up with the notion that most things that are brought in or imported are better, or the white man's goods are better than what we have locally. Yes, and also that may also be because the industry wasn't well advanced and well equipped at the time. If you look at history, gold at the time was worn by mostly wealthy people, chiefs, and high society.
It was a symbol of royalty.
Yes. So a lot of people didn't have that level of access to gold.
To gold.
Yeah. So now that people started making gold, and because we didn't have people going through formal education, it was more through apprenticeships. There were times when people had pieces made for them, but when they checked the purity levels, they were much lower than what they expected. So somehow it built this sort of notion around the fact that you can't get good quality pieces locally.
But are we making quality pieces in Ghana?
Yes, we are. There are a number of jewelers who have upped their game. People have brought in 3D printers. I mean, it can compete with jewelry anywhere in the world. We still are not there on the whole. There's still a lot of people who are not finishing to that level to meet international standards. But with conscientization and training programs, building up the industry, we have come a long way. And because the raw material is expensive, that is why we're having discussions with government, with financial institutions to support the industry, to help people grow their businesses. I always say our industry, or I refer to our industry as a cottage industry. Most of the jewelers you come across either is a one-man business or it's maybe two people with an apprentice. That's how a lot of them have been operating. And for a long time, the Lebanese have also been
dominating the market.
Dominating that space. Lately, you see a lot more indigenous Ghanaian entrepreneurs opening up jewelry shops that will compete with any jewelry anywhere in the world.
Is the business profitable?
Yes, it is.
But
it is capital intensive.
So you need to invest in a lot more.
You need, especially with the equipment, the equipment alone. I mean, when you're bringing in the equipment, that's where we've also been advocating for reduction in taxes, because we're bringing in equipment to help, process the material into finished pieces. But the duties we pay are extremely high. And also we've been competing against focus buyers on the market.
Who are focus buyers?
Focus buyers are people who look at the gold market industry. They look at today's price and say, look, gold is selling at $3,500 an ounce. Now, looking at the general world trend, there are insecurities in certain places. And when that happens, people move money from the money markets, that's the stock exchange, and move into gold.
Yeah.
And once there's a lot of pressure, buying pressure on gold, the price shoots up.
It balloons.
Yes. So when they look at it from that angle and they realize, like you look at today, for instance, there's a war going on with Israel.
Israel and Iran.
There's the Russia, Ukraine issue. There's also tension with Russia and the U.S.
Yeah.
In the Americas.
Yes.
Yeah. So all those things make people jittery. They feel, are we heading towards a third world war? What's the safest way to keep my money? Because if a war breaks out, the stock markets plummet straight away.
It does.
But the demand for gold is so high because it is seen as a safe haven.
Safe haven.
So people keep just pumping money into gold.
Some also think sometimes it is also used as money laundering kind of route, where people who are, getting their monies from all kinds of sources seem to also dump it within that space because of how things happen there. Do you think is...
Well, I must be honest with you. I mean, when people are money laundering, they are very ingenious. They come up with different ways and different avenues of washing their money or channeling their money so it becomes legit. Gold, yes, is one of the ways. People go into property, people buy cars, so if we just look at gold and say that's how people money.
But finally, before we go to two other matters and then you take leave of, because you have other important assignment to go and also discharge. If I'm considering buying, jewelry, and usually or previously my perception was that to get quality, I need to go get foreign ones. You're trying to convince me to say, consider the local ones. Some are very good. First of all, talk to me. Why, beyond even the quality, as a Ghanaian, what interest will I have in procuring the locally made ones instead of the foreign ones? And how sure am I that indeed I'll get the quality? And if you can mention, I don't know, we can do some free adverts. Why not? Maybe areas that you think, okay, if you go here, you are likely to get some of these quality jewelry.
I wouldn't just say try. I would say it's a must that you buy made in Ghana. Now, when you take the eastern countries, you see when they started manufacturing vehicles, sometimes we imported cars from China and they came here. Sometimes we were driving on the road and the bumper falls off. But did we castigate them? We complained. We said, oh, the goods is not good.
Over
but
time.
Eventually, now their cars
Very good.
are reigning on the market.
Yeah.
If we don't support our own, how do we grow? It's a way of building our economy, because when we support our people locally, they also pay taxes. They support family.
They employ
people. So it's a ripple effect. We need to support our own to grow. Fortunately, now we have the gold board that has come in. We are expecting that they support the industry. We've had our rallies.
But they have their jewelry.
Yes, you see. So
is that not a competition?
Yes. So that's where a lot of jewelers think, but they are also a player in the market. How do they, moderate the market if they are playing as well?
And they will have some bit of financial capacity
clout,
as compared
they
to.
have government funding and all. But we are hoping that they, being a governmental agency, would support the industry to grow as a whole and not just concentrate on their...
What support does the industry need?
Bringing in new equipment, making finance available for industry players, supporting them to also take on younger people to train and grow the industry generally. Right now, what we need is open markets out there, because there are people here who produce locally, have clients abroad who want their jewelry. But when you give it to courier companies, they'll tell you because of anti-money laundering laws, they cannot ship out your pieces.
Yeah.
Which I find strange and a very unfair scale, because we also bring in semi-finished products from Europe and Americas, and yet these same courier companies will bring it into us.
Oh.
How come they don't quote anti-money laundering laws to them? But when you're shipping from here, they quote these laws to you, which shows that the scales are highly unbalanced. When you look at it, it looks like there's a feel that the market is being suppressed here. We're being encouraged to export in the raw.
I think
consistent.
so. I think so. And
so there are barriers put in place to
make
it
us
more
stay
difficult for us to send out finished goods.
So within the value chain, you are at the level where you seek to add value to whatever we mine.
Yeah.
What do you see will be the potential impact of your industry if it is supported to be that, effective, what potential impact will it have on our economy generally?
It will give us a huge advantage because once we add value to it, let's say we're exporting in the raw, we're just getting base metal return. Now, when we add value, it's, as I said, it's a ripple effect. The income grows, the jewelers make money, the people they employ get paid, taxes get paid to government, so it just goes on and on.
I see. Now, do you have a position on Galamsey and the fight? Because some accuse some of your members that, well, that's where you get your gold. You get it from some of these people. You do not really discriminate. What's the association's position on illegal mining?
Illegal mining for us is a no, an emphatic no. Yes, there has been issues of it being said that our material comes from Galamsey. Prior to that, what we don't appreciate is that in the mining sector, there are people who operate ethical mines that operate within the confines of the law. Now, our law states categorically that you should not mine within 100 meters of any water body. But if you take a drive around, almost all our water bodies on this part are muddied, are polluted. It affects the livelihood of people who live along these river bodies. It is their source of drinking water. To the point where even Ghana Water Company has had to shut down some of the operational points. So, and if we want to compete internationally, we definitely have to source our material ethically. We have to prove that the sources of our gold are coming from the right places. So that is why we are also working with Gold Board, because they have the resources. NIMOS has been set up, they're going around battling it. But I must say, in as much as we say that, we want to clamp down on Galamsey, they have a lot of challenges. And also, the world market of price at the moment has gone up phenomenally. Now, if we're kicking people out of that area, what alternate sources of livelihood are we creating for them? They are human beings like you and I. And the allure of gold is very high. So how do we move them away from that space? And what arrangements are we making for them?
Is that not what occasioned NIMOS? So that they will spearhead an environmentally sensitive kind of mining practices, so that instead of Galamsey, I think the previous administration they called it community mining kind of.
Yes.
It follows the same model. Is that not what they are pursuing?
Yes, so that is what they are working towards. They are pushing towards it. But I think they are highly under-resourced. They need a lot more resources, and they need local stations. They need to put more permanent structures in place to ensure, because sometimes they get rid of people from one space,
they move to another
away,
place,
and the people come back.
But if Galamsey is stopped, how will you guys get these raw materials to produce the jewelries?
Yes, so as I said, there are ethical mines that operate in this space.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and if we want to break into the international market, as I've said, we have to prove that the sources of our material are coming from ethically sourced mines. And even with the bigger mines, for instance, most of their material is shipped out. If laws are put in place that a small percentage, let's say 2% of whatever they produce, should be kept for the local market consumption. That will go a long way to resource the local industry. Why is it that we've been shipping out? They have an autonomy to ship out all the material that they've been shipping for years. That has to change. And I believe that this government is also looking at addressing some of those issues. Yeah.
Interesting stuff. So the final issue will be to also talk about the issues to do with gold board, not on the jewelry side, but if you look at the operations of gold board, how they have been structured, the objectives that they have been given and they are working on. Is gold board currently meeting your expectation, or they can do more?
Okay, so I happened to be on the technical committee when the gold
Oh, you
board
were
was
part.
being set up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I realized is that the concentration was more, and it was an urgent situation, and it was geared more dealing with the menace of Galamsey, which we were all worried about. Because then once that menace has been curbed, and there's proof that gold is being produced ethically and properly in our environment, then that gives us the resource that we also need for our industry. Gold board is doing a lot, but within the jewelry space, we haven't been able to, or we haven't been given a clear picture. At the moment, we started a discussion with them on the various levels of the jewelry industry. And I think they need a better understanding of how
operations.
the operations are. I think they were looking at it from a different lens. So the fees that were structured were much higher than what a lot of people